Welcome back everybody to Simple C10, and on today's episode we're going to install this Tinworks Fabrications trailing arm crossmember in their tubular trailing arms. Hey, I just wanted to shout out the guys from Tinworks there. You've got Taylor that runs the whole operation, and Zach is his welder. Super talented, both of those guys. I got a chance to meet them at Southeastern Truck Nationals, and you couldn't ask for two better guys to be working with on this community built truck. So Tinworks Fabrications, they offer a ton of different parts, especially for the 63 to 72 truck, but they offer a wide range of products. So make sure, check out their link, it's in the description. So I just unbolted that line from the gas tank, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push this down through the little rubber grommet. That way I can move that gas line out of the way of the cross member, because we're getting ready to cut that cross member out and install the Tinworks Fabrications cross member. So I need all the exhaust, pretty much everything out of here. Trailing arms, exhaust, shocks, springs, all this stuff is coming out. We'll put that cross member in first because it seems to be the trickiest thing to get to. So we'll get that in there, and then from there we can bolt in our new trailing arms and then clean up the frame, get it ready for the VeloWorks notch. Then we've got the Alex V wide slink, got the Boyd tank, air slam it, simple C10 kit. A lot more to come. All right, let's check out what we got here. Stickers! And something really cool about what Tinworks do, they always send you this candy, so they sweeten up the deal every time you purchase something from them. Pun intended. We've got a ton of these awesome looking Tinworks Fabrication stickers. Got great designs on here. Love that retro design, super cool. That's what's great about Tinworks, is you're supporting some guys right here in the US of A. Let me go ahead and reveal this masterpiece right here. So what is unique about this is whenever I was at SETN, I reached out to Taylor and I said, hey Taylor, is there any way that you can have your front trailing arm cross member from your frame stiffening kit available by itself? So what you'll see here, this is actually the front part. This is the front part of their frame stiffener that is just the trailing arm cross member part. And as you can see, this is usually where the drive shaft is and where it goes up, so you're not worried about it hitting that. As you can see, this little part here, if you're running a two-piece drive shaft, that gives you the part that you need to bolt up that bracket. So again, it's got the exhaust cutouts, and what I love about this design is you can mount the side braces and then bolt this to the side braces, so you're not trying to get this whole piece into the frame at one time. It's heavy. All grade 8 hardware to install this. I appreciate a company that gives you all grade 8. These are the sections that I was talking about. So when we uninstall our trailing arm cross member, the factory one, it's going to leave us with some holes in the frame. So those holes are going to mount directly to the holes that we have here. We'll bolt these into the frame a little bit loose, and then we'll slide this trailing arm cross member into those, and then we can bolt them on. So that way you're not trying to maneuver this whole piece into the frame at once like some of the one-piece trailing arm cross members. You can install your trailing arm onto here. There's a lot of different slots, as you can see, to adjust the height that you want those. But again, I love this because they bolt directly on. So you can get everything bolted up, bolt in these, then bolt in your new trailing arm, and you're good to go. Doesn't that look beautiful? This thing needs cut out and all this frame cleaned up and painted before we install that cross member here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a Sawzall and I'm gonna cut this off on each side. That way I can get to the rivets on the back side. Then I'm gonna take a grinder and grind off the top of those rivets and then try to bang them out. Because as you can see, there's no way to drill out this top rivet right here. And it's really hard to get from the bottom. But if we cut this off, then I can get a grinder on the bottom side of it. So I'll show you how I do that. I've only done this once before on Crockett, and I learned a lot from that build. So I'll try to make this one quicker and easier. All right, here's a couple of the things that we're going to be using. As I mentioned, we're going to use a Sawzall here. I've got a 9-inch 14-tooth blade that should cut right through that cross member. Once we get the cross member cut off, then we're going to come in with a grinder with a cut blade on there. At Harbor Freight, they have this nice little collection kit for $10. You get 5 cutting blades, 3 flap disc, and 2 of these grinding disc here too. So that should be all you need and more for what we're going to do today. Those flap discs are really good to clean off the frame. This can grind down some of those rivets. This can cut off the rivets. So really good pack. I think all in all, both of these items were around $20, and I'll get plenty of use out of these two here. Of course, you've got your safety equipment, glasses, gloves, and later on, we're going to need some sockets and some wrenches to install the hardware. Right now, the focus is just cutting out that cross member, getting the frame cleaned up. I've got some wire wheels and some other stuff left over from my last build, so we'll use some of that, and we'll get it looking good. That was a lot of cutting and grinding, but this is what we wanted. We need those 3 holes right there in the bottom. Same. We've got all that cut out. 2 holes up top, 3 holes down bottom that we'll use to bolt in that cross member. But right now, as you can see, this thing needs cleaned up. So we're gonna grind down this frame, and I'm gonna use some of that Rust Restore and then the truck bed coating, the stuff that I usually use on my frame, and just put some of that underneath where all this is going to bolt together so I don't bolt it into a rusty frame. To clean this off, all I use some wire wheels. I've got this wheel for the angle grinder. That's kind of the stuff that I use right here. We'll get it as clean as we can. So I'll go ahead, whenever I paint the frame, I'll go ahead and paint these brackets so I can get everything bolted in together. And then I'll spray the cross member as well. Sprayed down these parts with some of this truck bed coating. Not as nice as powder coating, but it gets the job done, looks good. So in your kit, you're gonna have this trailing arm cross member hardware, and this is the 8 bolts that's gonna bolt the cross member to these braces, and then these 8 bolts are gonna bolt this to the actual frame. So that's what we're gonna do first. We're going to use these 8 bolts and all the washers and the lock nuts, and we're going to go ahead and just get these started. Hand tighten. We don't want to tighten them up all the way because we want the cross member to have some room to wiggle around to adjust where it needs to be. So this bracket's got 2 holes on one side, 3 on the other side. The frame has 2 holes and then 3 on the bottom that we're going to line this up. So just gonna slide this in. All right, as you can see right there, just got these loosely fit. A lot of adjustment. When we pull these tight, it'll pull that frame tight, but now we can get the bolts in from the back side right here and put our cross member in. That'll give us just enough flexibility to put our cross member in and then bolt it all down tight. And that's it. The bolts are going to go from the inside out. That way they don't get in the way of the exhaust, even though I may not put the exhaust there. Go ahead and get one washer and nut started so it doesn't fall on my leg. As you can see, I tighten these first. Get all that squared away. Now I'm going to come in and tighten the ones to the frame. So this thing turned out awesome. I love this design. Again, you've got the side braces right here that bolt in first, and then you can bolt the cross member in and then put the trailing arm bracket on there, the squat bracket. And again, the reason we use this is whenever you bag your truck, the drive shaft is going to try to come up here whenever you lay out. And with the factory trailing arm cross member, it hits the top of the hoop. So if you're on a mini notch, you don't have to worry about a cross member. Now you can go with a different style cross member that'll give you a little bit more clearance, but I've had a couple mini notch trucks and I haven't had any issues with drive shafts. So to go with that Tinworks trailing arm cross member, we've got the tubular Tinworks trailing arms, and these are awesome. I'm excited. This is the first time I've used these. So in the trailing arm cross member, there's a couple different perks. As you can see, there's an adjustable end right here, That way you can adjust your trailing arm forward or backward wherever you need it to line everything up. They have this nice bracket right here, and your spring can bolt into that, or your bag bracket, and it'll bolt all the way through. It goes to the bottom and bolts in. Another cool thing is there's an inch of drop already built into this trailing arm. So on this truck, what I'm going to have to do is take those VelaWorks do-it-yourself rear slam kit that are normally 4 inches, 4.5 inches actually, and I'm going to cut those down to 3.5, and I'm going to put those on top of here. That'll give us the 4.5 inch drop that the VelaWorks do-it-yourself slam kit does. You can just see the welds, and just the overall design is great. This is for your emergency brake cable. Usually whenever you buy this kit with the mini notch, it's going to give you this panhard bar, and that bolts into their mini notch and then into the side bracket right here of the trailing arm. So since we're doing a Watts link on this truck, I'll probably just cut this off and grind it down smooth, so I won't use that. Now on the service truck, I am going to be installing these Tinworks trailing arms, and then also the Tinworks mini notch. And the Tinworks mini notch has this panhard bar bracket already built into it. So that's what's going to be going on the service truck. So as I was saying before, the VelaWorks do-it-yourself slam kit, this block for the back, normally you would bolt this directly to the factory trailing arm. But since this already has an inch drop built into it, we're going to cut this down to the size that we need and then weld that to the trailing arm. Now, if you're on a mini notch, you won't need to do this. This is only for a monster notch trying to lay out the way I do the rest of the trucks. So if you're on a mini notch, you can just run this, bolt the bag directly to the frame on the mini notch, and you'll be fine. If you're curious what to do on a mini notch, go back and watch the blue build, and that'll show you the lowest you can go on one of these trucks with a mini notch.